All right, let's get rolling here, everybody. We'll pop people in as they come. But for those of you that don't know, my name is David Frizzell. I have the website, The Wholesaler's Toolbox, and I've had that website for going on 10 years now. And like I mentioned, I had a lot of experience real estate in different aspects of real estate. I'd been a realtor for a quick minute. I've been in the mortgage business. I'd inspected homes for investors. I started doing that in 2008 when the market, when the real estate market crashed. There wasn't any mortgage business to be had, so I started inspecting houses for investors that were buying up properties in Detroit. So, doing that for a while, I finally got talked into rehabbing houses for investors, and they were mostly overseas. So I put together some crews and I started doing that. So my journey has been a little bit backwards as far as real estate investing goes. I did wholesaling last, where a lot of people will start with wholesaling and then go on to do other things. So, but when I got into wholesaling, even though I had a background in real estate and in sales and all that, it was very foreign to me. And it was something that, like talking to, a lot of people like you that are new in the business, that I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, is it a real thing? Can I make money in wholesaling? People going to get mad at me because I'm like, I'm trying to buy a house and I'm trying to flip it and make money on it and stuff. So everything that you're thinking when you're getting into this business, the analysis paralysis and trying to figure it out and all that stuff, I went through the same thing. And I tell people the best way to get going is to find somebody else in the business, even if they're brand new, and team up with them, right? Because it's so much easier when you're doing it with somebody else, because you're constantly questioning yourself and, am I doing the right thing? Is this going to work? My family thinks I'm crazy. My wife, wants to leave me because I want to be a real estate wholesaler and all this stuff. So, if you're doing it with somebody, they're like moral support for you, right? We're not both crazy like a lot of people do this. So it works out well. The other thing is that I wanted to touch on, and it's why I push driving for dollars so hard. I talk to a lot of people in the industry having the website, and people reach out to me. And I know for a fact that the best deals are found through driving for dollars. And most wholesalers find their first deal through wholesaling or through driving for dollars. There's other ways. There's bandit signs and there's cold calling and there's, all those things, and they do work. But this is going to be your easiest and best route if you have the ability to get in your car and drive and look for vacant property. So that's how I started, right? So I'd been doing those other things. And I got burned out with rehabbing, and I said, I'm going to wholesale properties, and this is what I'm going to do. And I committed to doing it until I at least got one deal. I'm going to get in the car, I'm going to drive for dollars, and I'm going to find a deal. Now, this is before there was DealMachine and apps to help you to do this. So I got in the car and I had a big box full of envelopes with letters on it that said, hey, I'm an investor, I want to buy your house. And I started driving, and I every day I got in the car, went and got a coffee or something to drink, and just started. I picked a city and I started driving up and down the streets, and I looked for vacant houses, and I'd go up and down, and I'd mark them off on my map with a highlighter, and I kept doing it, and I did it consistently for 30 days, and by the end of the 30 days, I'd put 5 deals under contract. So, but it was all that I did. And I want you to understand that, because I'll have people reach out to me and they'll say, well, I went out Saturday and I found, 8 properties or 10 properties, I haven't got a deal yet. And I'm like, because you've got to do it consistently. You got to keep doing deals. You got to do 100, 200, 300, and the phone's going to start to ring and you're going to go look at them and do all that. So you can do this. And I don't care what your experience level is. And I know you all buy courses and find stuff online and look at YouTube, but you've got to start. You've got to start to get there. And a lot of us get stalled in that, right? We're waiting until we feel like we know it all. You just have to know the basics, right? And then the rest is going to be practice. You're going to get in the car. You're going to look for houses. When you find it, you're going to reach out through it. We'll get into that with DealMachine, but either send them a postcard or call them or whatever. Get in touch with them. Have them when the owner calls you back, just have a conversation with them. Hey, I'm a new investor. I'm looking to buy a house. Can I come by and look at your house? And when would be a good time to meet over there? Go walk through the house. They want to sell the house. They're not going to yell at you or call you a fraud or anything like that. They're going to want you to come look at the house, ask questions, right? And then you're going to get to the point where you're going to be confident to make an offer on a couple, 3, 4 houses. You're going to get a deal, right? So it's all a process, and you have to get started, right? And so that's my point. And I wanted to say that before Matt gets into his presentation. This is the best way to do this, and Matt's going to tell you that anyway because he works for DealMachine, and they're all in on driving for dollars. But it truly is the best way to get started at this, unless you just don't have a car or you feel like making 10,000 phone calls to find a buyer. People relate to other people. So if you're in the same town, you can go see the person, you can talk to them face to face, and you can build that rapport. It's the best way to do it. So with that said, I'm going to let Matt go so we don't keep everybody all night, and I'm going to let Matt start and go through and just explain how to really find motivated sellers in 2023 and how to get going in this business. So you ready to rock and roll, Matt?
Yeah, let's do it. Excited to do this tonight. Right, if you don't mind sharing
I'm going to make you king of the hosting Zoom here.
Perfect. All right. Let me try to share.
Anybody now that I've got my glasses on, if anybody's got any questions why Matt goes through here, throw them in chat, and I'll keep track of them. Please. And then at the end we can do a Q&A session. So.
Yep. You stick around for Q&A. So let me try to share my screen here. A lot of what I talk about will be a lot easier to visualize with these slides here. So let's see. David, can you see that? Hopefully
I can. Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. Cool. So again, really appreciate the intro. Matt Camp over here with DealMachine. David, you are right. Like, you hit the nail on the head in terms of saying, hey, leading with action. We talk about this, and this will be a recurring theme throughout all of this tonight for me, is leading with action, leading with the right action, which tonight I'll show you, hey, here is the 3-step playbook of what we see working over and over and over again. I mean, a lot of it, David, you can back up with your own personal stories. I know David Lecko, our founder, I'll get into his story a little bit of how he implemented this playbook. We've seen over 10,000 deals done using the DealMachine platform now. So this is a playbook that, again, works over and over and over again. And like you said, I mean, hey, I firmly believe in us. I work for DealMachine, so I really help educate people on the best practices behind it. But even if you're not using DealMachine, this playbook is exactly what to go do and how to implement this. Like, yes, we are a tool to make it more effective, more efficient, better, more of just save you time and money throughout the process. But regardless, like, these are the 3 things that we see working literally 10,000 plus times that everyone has in common, whether you be the newbie trying to do that first deal, or that most investor doing 5, 10, 15 deals a month. We've seen people do, and they're still having these three same things in common throughout. So I'll try to monitor letting people in here throughout this as well. But yeah, so I'm going to share that tonight. Again, it's all about leading with action. We call it having on-demand knowledge to fall back on. That's kind of the term we use, where you're saying, David, like, yeah, team up with somebody, have somebody that you can lean on. You're going to go through doubts, come to things like this where you can ask questions. It's okay. Like, the biggest limiting belief that we see over and over again is when you feel like you need to know everything, and you feel like, hey, you've got all this information out there. You've got YouTube University and courses and all these other things. the one thing that we see that everyone has in common that succeeds in this is they take action, right? They take action and they get better and better and better, and they learn. They educate themselves. They come to stuff like this. They have a partner that they ask questions on, but that's on-demand knowledge that you will not be able to really fully know what situations you're going to be in until you get into those situations. So the first step and the thing that everyone has in common is taking action. And that's what I want to show tonight is, hey, here's the process we've seen work over and over and over again to get there. So yes, this recording will be shared. This is something that, I'll try to go into nitty gritty details too of like, hey, here's exactly what to do. We'll use data to back this up. And I know you mentioned like driving for dollars being so powerful. When we look at the as well, it backs it up too. Like, the whole point of driving for dollars is that it's the best bang for your buck in terms of the number of leads you need to get to a deal. And when we look at, like, we have list builder options too through DealMachine, like you can pull lists and things. When we look at that data, it takes typically 4 to 5, maybe even 6 times as many leads on list builder as it does on driving for dollars. So that means you're going to spend 4 times, 5 times, 6 times more marketing, time, dollars in terms of postcards, skip tracing, all that stuff to get to a deal that way. And you can do it. Like, it's definitely another option, but driving for dollars is the best bang for your buck, the best ROI in terms of number of leads it takes to get to a deal. So wanted to share that.
I want to interject there real quick for a minute, Matt. So, because I want this meeting to be about learning for everybody. And the data that DealMachine gets, and that, all the other data providers get, you guys know all the systems where you can get on and pull leads. I won't name names, but you guys know all of them. But all the vacant data on all these systems is all, it comes from the post office, from the U.S. Post Office, because they track what houses are vacant and what, where mail's not going and all that. But the data is only as good as that local post office, right? If they're not updating the data, they're not doing the things that they need to do, the data is going to be skewed. So when you pull a list of vacant, although, if you want a vacant list and you go into DealMachine, you say, okay, I want a vacant in this zip code, it's going to be, better than just driving or just sending mail to, absentee owners, right? Because vacant house owners are going to be more motivated to sell or more motivated to do something. But it's not 100%, right? It's, that data is never going to be 100%, right? So it's depending on the area and the post office. And if there's a lot of vacation rentals or whatever, it might get down into the 60% accuracy. But getting out and driving for, and building your list by driving for dollars, your list is 100% accurate, right? Because every house you go by, you can verify if it's vacant or not. Right. So it's, so you're talking about building a list that's 100% accurate and then just marketing to that list. So you don't have to buy a list of absentee owners and mail to, 10,000 or 20,000, properties. You can build a list of a few hundred and do is good on, your return and finding deals as somebody that's mailing to 20,000 properties, right? Because you're identifying vacant properties only, right? So anyway, I just wanted to interject on the data there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll dig into data quite a bit here, throughout as well. And yeah, I think in general, that's what we're talking about when it comes to driving for dollars. Like, these leads, they are, one, like you said, the most motivated because, hey, you're identifying a lead, you're qualifying it in real time in the real world. You're not just relying on some list that was pulled or that you got somewhere. But also the number one indicator of a motivated seller, period, is if a house is in physical distress. If there's a sign of physical distress, if there's like, a tarp on the roof or siding falling off, gutters falling off, backyard's a mess, weeds through the concrete, windows broken, things like that, those types of signs, that is the number one indicator of a motivated seller, someone who, hey, they have a problem that you can come in and solve using speed, using convenience, using cash, using the resources that you have. And like David, like you said, I mean, they're going to be welcome to talk to you. Like, they're, if someone's dealing with an urgent problem, like, hey, you can come in and solve that issue for them. So in the end, like that kind of sums up why right now is such a big opportunity as well. Is, regardless of what market you're in, you can use the word slowdown, you can use the word downturn, you can use recession, what have you. The market has changed. And, and in times of that, in times of broader economical distress, there is more individual financial distress and problems that people are dealing with. And you as an investor, you as a wholesaler, that's your whole job, is to identify those problems and solve that for them. And when you can take that mindset and figure out, how can I help this person? How can I use cash to help them? How can I use speed, convenience, all these different things to solve a problem that you can bring to the table? That's when people are willing to trade a discount, willing to trade, equity, willing to trade a good deal in the end for you to solve that problem for them. So
I'll tell you, here in the local Tampa market in the last 4 months, the inventory on the Tampa Bay MLS has gone from 3,000 units to about 12,000 units in 4 months. That's how much it's slowed down here. That's right, crazy. Because of interest rates and everything else. So there's a lot of people sitting on houses that need to sell.
Yep. So the people who get proactive, the people who are taking action at a time where other people might easily fade away, and the people who source the deals, those are going to be the winners. So why don't most people start though? If hey, now is the time. Real estate, obviously everybody on here knows that real estate is the most wealth generating tool out there. If you know all of that knowledge, why don't most people start? It's, hey, there's so much information out there. There's so many different things you could be doing. You just need a simple, proven process to know here's where and how to get started. And that's my goal tonight, is to give you the playbook, to really give you those 3 plays and say, hey, follow these steps. I'll give you a lot of pro tips too, a lot of things on exactly how to do it, or what we've seen work over and over and over again. Like I said, 10,000 plus times using DealMachine. But that playbook, regardless of if you're using DealMachine or not, these are the things that everyone has in common of how they're landing deals like that. So, I want to briefly mention, a little bit on our background. David Lecko, our David over here, he's our CEO and founder. He's somebody who, very much like David talked about, had a lot of those limiting beliefs, was inspired to go get into real estate. He had read Rich Dad Poor Dad. He had read all the, had listened to podcasts, read all the books, watched the YouTube videos, all that stuff, and knew that real estate was super powerful, but didn't know where to get started himself. And he tried a variety of things. He tried going on market and, running numbers of listed houses, and realized, man, I'm not anything that either cash flows or is going to be good to wholesale. I'm not going to find a good deal on market. And then he tried bulk lists as well, getting lists from a variety of places, and realized that, man, all those leads are going to be, one, either not a great deal because they, are being, bombarded by a lot of people, or two, just be very competitive because, anyone can get a hold of those lists really, really easily. And, regardless of what tool you're using or anything like that, you didn't build that list yourself. You didn't earn that list. You didn't build a list that's unique to yourself. It's one that you have easily gotten access to. So he tried that route, make it work that way. And then he started driving for dollars. And like you said, David, he would drive around, he'd figure out hey, these physically distressed properties going direct to seller, this is the way to go. This is how I need to be finding deals. But as he was doing that, he realized man, I need to build a big list and I need to consistently market to them, because he would drive around and he'd take the paper, write down addresses here, highlight on a map, like you said, David, all that stuff. He, consistently do that, just try to write down these addresses, go look up info about the owner, then try to, be able to go and actually, send mail to those people. And it would take forever to do that. And he realized they were really good leads, because he would drive around and he'd drive, 6 months later, and the house would be getting worked on. It had been sold to an investor. It just wasn't to him. So he realized, okay,
it was a tedious process back then, right? Because people were driving around with a notepad, writing down all the addresses. They would come back, they would get on the county, the county tax assessor site, look up the owners. Then they'd get online and try to find a phone number or an address for the owner. And it wasn't easy, right? Before things like DealMachine, right?
Yeah. So he had a 30-minute plus process to do all this stuff and to reach out to somebody and turn it into 30 seconds, because he had a tech background and he realized, man, I think I can solve this problem for myself. And he made, this is version 1. I don't know if anybody remembers iPhone apps when they looked like this, but they were, he made one for himself where, hey, I can go out and pin properties for myself, and then I can sending mail to these property owners. And the big thing was he automated the mail. So he'd send it on repeat and just said, hey, I'm going to send this every 21 days, put it on repeat and see if people respond to that. And from that, he built his own financial freedom, built his own portfolio, started doing all kinds of, he did, built a portfolio of 9 properties, initially for himself off this, and this kind of like initial little app that he made for himself and spruced it up and put it on the app store. Cause he realized, I think I can, I think I solved a problem here. Like, I think a lot of people would find that value in this. And that's where this playbook comes from, is from his experience and from, like I said, the 10,000 plus deals that have been done on DealMachine to date. That's our mission, is to give everyone the power of real estate investing. And we've had people do a deal in every single state. And we're proud to call ourselves the highest rated and most reviewed app out there for real estate investors to find all property deals. So, yeah, I'll go into that today. People like this, like Ryan Haywood, he's somebody who's an example of what we're pulling this playbook from. Him and his wife have been wholesaling since January 2020. He did a challenge back January 2020 where day 2 was, hey, go download DealMachine. And, he got his first deal under contract 17 days in. He, similar to you, David, like I know you said you did 5 in the first month. That's awesome. Like, he very much went all out, like did it. That was his full focus, was getting this, making this happen. He did 72 deals, him and his wife, in the first year. And then they've done over 400 deals total since January 2020, wholesaling like this. So what I share tonight, this is what he's doing exactly, step by step. People like this, Enzo Needy too. He's a guy that's in St. Louis, actually, who's using wholesaling to fuel his long-term investing and buy and holds and things like that. 75% of his deals have come from using DealMachine, but he's somebody who's taken a smaller approach and kind of building up a small portfolio. So it's people like this who just started brand new to real estate, been doing it a couple of years now, all the way through to the Ryan Haywoods of the world that have scaled quickly. So excited to jump into this. And anything in the chat that I addressed before jumping in here, Dave?
I don't. Let's see. We want, people want to know how to find cash buyers and how to contact the owner. And I said, we're going to get into those things. So
yep, perfect. And cash buyers,
nothing that we're not going to cover already. So
okay, awesome. Let's do it. So and I know you mentioned like we're going to sign out a recording. If you are on this live too, we are going to do a special offer at the end and then have a giveaway. I know we talked about that. It's actually the giveaway is worth over $1,800 in value. So stick around for that, and would love to have, to give everyone a shot on that too. So
and the odds are pretty good because we only got 43 people on here. So.
There you go. Love it. Yeah, there we go. And asking good questions so far too. So appreciate that. So getting right into this, 3-step playbook. First step here, we kind of organize this with a triangle with, something in the middle to bring it all together. But first one is finding the right leads. And again, the right leads, the key being the word right here, does not mean on the market, does not mean they put up a for sale sign and are wanting people to come in and, bid up the house and get in and do a bidding war there. Like, you're trying to go direct to seller. You're trying to find the owners that are not raising their hand and doing that, or not wanting to, or not able to possibly, clean up their house, or, have people come through it, or want to work with an agent, or, have many other motivators that you can solve, by working with them directly as the investor. So, first and foremost, it's finding the right leads. It's finding those ones that are, again, physically distressed. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. That is the number one motivator or number one indicator of a motivated seller. And in the end, like, we're not deal makers. We're not like convincing somebody who doesn't want to move should move. We're deal finders. Like, we're out there looking for properties and looking for people who have a need right now, who are motivated, and that we can then come in and solve. So that's the goal here. And to find that, look for that number one indicator, that physical distress. Before I show this on the demo side, I want to mention there's 2 magic numbers I try to teach people about and this comes to goal setting for this year. So if you're like, hey, yeah, how many leads do I need to get to a deal? Like, what do I do to get out there? Like, how do I set goals on getting started with this? The 2 magic numbers when it comes to our data of what we see, one of them is the number 100. So that 100 number, that doesn't, and that first means 100 leads, and leads meaning like qualified leads. So, houses that are physically distressed, the fixer uppers. But 100 really is the number that when we look at the data to figure out what is an indicator of long-term success, like who's going to stick with this and snowball and start talking to people and get excited and see the value and stick long-term and do a deal and do more deals after that. The people that hit that 100 number, we see a real snowball of momentum. And, you may or may not have your first deal in 100 leads. Like, we do have plenty of people. Like, there's a guy, Quentin, down in San Antonio. We filmed him live on our YouTube channel, and it was his fourth person he called. He did the deal like live on the call. So it can happen. You got to get lucky, right place, right time, obviously for him. But that 100 number is regardless of if you're the Quintins of the world that got lucky, or it takes you a couple hundred leads, 1,000 leads, whatever the number is to get to that deal. That 100 number is where we see people sticking with it. They've built the right processes. They're it's like you go into the gym and you're starting to get used to it, and you're getting that schedule down, So 100, I would say start there and really try to set a goal of getting your first 100 leads. And then the second magic number is 300. And it can be like a tick north of that, just a little, between 300 and 400, but 300 is standard, where when we look at our data and look across the US and say, how many qualified leads does it take to get to that first deal? If you look at the average across the US, 300-ish is that for driving for dollars, 300 is the ballpark number of what you want to aim for to get to that deal. And the qualifiers behind that are at least 3 touch points with each of those leads. So 3, which we'll talk about in the step 2 here, we'll talk about. Also, like, they got to be qualified leads again. So 300 in terms of like fixer upper properties. And then, it's going to depend on where you're located, where that number could go up or down. So like in a St. Louis, I would expect about a 300, number. If you're in a more rural market, it might be, 150, 200, a little bit lower. If you're in a more dense market, but more, competitive, it might be a couple times that, 600, 2, 3, 4 times that. But on average, I would say think about 300 is a good rule of thumb, a good initial goal to set, and be able to build that super, super high quality list and market to those consistently, and you're setting yourself up for success. So
the first time I heard that number, Matt, that 300 number, you guys started telling people, and it fell so much in line with what my experience was when I started driving for dollars. I could do, if I hustled, I could find about 8 houses an hour that were vacant, just driving up and down the streets. And, like I said, I did that consistently day in, day out. So when I calculated the number, I had a deal for about every 300 houses that I was hitting as I was getting something under contract. So
love it.
That's accurate.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Do you want to answer that question from Cheryl too? I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, absolutely, Cheryl. You should bother on that. I have a good friend that's a real estate investor, and he just did a rehab the house not long ago that he bought, and the house was empty for 18 years. No lie. It just sat there. And he, finally tracked them down, after he found it, and ended up doing a deal. They were way back on a mortgage they had. It was, but just sitting empty. So absolutely. Don't try to prejudge houses, right? If it's vacant, reach out. If it's no matter what, if it's vacant, send a postcard, call, leave a note on the door, do whatever. But yeah, reach out. Yeah. Somebody said, Christina, is that 100 people you actually talk to? No, that's just 100 houses. Matt's just talking about getting in the groove, right? Finding 100 houses, tagging them in DealMachine, and just using, getting to use the app and getting used to going out and driving for dollars. It's like going to the gym, like he said. Once you get in a rhythm where you're going every day, that's when you're going to, eventually start seeing results. So not talking to people, but just getting deals. And that mail, Christina, we can talk about mail. I've spent so much money on just absentee owner lists when I started. We'll get into that later.
Yep. That'll be step 2 here. Yeah. And I think, Cheryl, just to add on what you're saying there, David, as well, Cheryl, I think you were pointing out I think a super high quality lead, actually. Like that is something that when we're saying, hey, we're looking for factors of motivation, right? Of being a motivated seller, vacant, behind on the mortgage, those are stacking up. Those are becoming, a list of things that you can come in and try to solve for them. So I think that's a fantastic lead to run after. So awesome. So showing this in action. So knowing the power of driving for dollars and just the quality of leads there, how do you actually go out and build a list as efficiently as possible? Let me see. David, can you see my
Yep, got it.
Perfect, the app here. So what I'm pulling up here, this is the web version at DealMachine.com. If you log in there, this is the web version. We're more known for our mobile app, but they both sync up. And we'll see probably the most common thing is that if you're driving around, mobile locks onto your location and you add leads there. And then you can come back on the desktop if you're able to, and actually look at more information and follow up with people using the desktop version. That's probably the most common practice that we see. But for tonight, I'll stick to the desktop. It's very, very similar to mobile. But when you jump in here, you're going to see all of these black dots start to pop up around you. And know that all these black dots, these are just properties. These are all potential leads that, if you're driving down Neosho Street right here and I see 5636 in real life, look at it on my phone, click on it, boom, I can see more info about the owner right here. You can see it's owner occupied, click on the next one, be able to see here, you've got, 5638 Neosho Street. Owner occupied, Michael and Patricia Levitt. Awesome. Got the sale date, have sale price, equity percentage, assessed value, more info about the mortgage. So you can really see some really valuable data right here and start to kind of figure out the situation with the property and kind of score this lead as you go along. Most common question I get to start off is like, where do I go drive? Where do I get started? I don't want to give you too many barriers. Like, the answer is, hey, just start driving what's convenient for you, what's easy for you, routes to work, routes to wherever, if you're out and about, always be thinking about it. Like there's a guy, one guy in Atlanta, Raman Quaidis, we interviewed him a few months ago on our YouTube channel. We've done about 150 interviews on our YouTube channel so far of people talking about deals they've landed using DealMachine. He was on his way to a haircut, and it was during his 7-day free trial, found a vacant house, and that ended up being a deal for him. So just being always on like that, that for sure, that's where you want to start. But then if you want to get more targeted, use data to your advantage. And there's this highlights button right here. How David, you were literally using a highlighter marker. we've got like, hey, here's the 2023 version, where if you click on that highlights button right here, you've got thousands of data points you can look at, and you can jump in and say, yeah, let me see vacant properties around me. Let me see, foreclosure, bank owned, absentee. You've got all these different quick hit lists that you can pull from. What I really, really recommend is to find an area to go drive in. I click create a highlight and then pick some higher level criteria. Like for me, in the end, like, again, you're trying to be a value add investor. You're trying to look for properties that need some help, right? So I look at year built as a really strong indicator, as like, here's a good broad thing that we can put in. So put in year built and say, hey, I want these properties to be at least 30 years old. So year built is before 1993. Awesome. Confirm that. I'm also going to be looking for single family. So I'll type in property type, and we have so many different property types, literally hundreds that you can choose from, multifamily, even commercial, all kinds of stuff. But property type, do single family. All right, cool. And then I'm going to go in here and say, hey, let me look for houses that have a value of at least 150K. So that way I've got a little bit of meat on the bone to work with when it comes to like the actual assignment fee here. So those are three super broad indicators of, older houses that are single family that have at least a threshold of what they're worth. And when I apply those filters, it'll figure out, hey, is this a good neighborhood to drive around? Well, let me see. Hold on a second here. Not on this portion. Year built. All right. Zoom out a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, I guess this part of town doesn't actually fit that. But if I zoom out throughout the entire city, you'll see entire neighborhoods start to pop up that fit that particular criteria. And, I would say start there. So figure out like, what are those high level criteria filters that you can use, and use that to figure out what are entire neighborhoods that fit my criteria. If you're going to look
we can talk about it later, or for those that, decide to maybe try out DealMachine, we can do another call maybe next week and go into it a little bit in more detail. But it depends on what your strategy is. If you're like me, because I sell to investors that want to mostly buy and hold, put a tenant in and all that. So I look at where they're buying, right? I want to focus my efforts in the neighborhoods they're buying all the time. I don't go look at, McMansions, and I don't go into areas where every other house is burnt out. I look for good, lower middle class to middle class neighborhoods, good working class neighborhoods is where I focus, because that's my market. If if your buyers or builders, you might be looking for vacant land. If you're living in an area that only have really expensive houses, that's where you're going to market. So it just depends on what you're doing and where you're at. But you really want to focus your efforts around where everybody's buying at, is what your buyers, your cash buyers are buying.
Yep. And a really, really good shortcut inside DealMachine to figure that out specifically. If you go into here, these are our quick list. You can create a highlight and, create your own custom, or you can use one of our quick lists right here. And one of the first ones you'll see is owners of multiple properties. That is a really good indicator that, hey, if they own multiple properties, they might be an investor in this area. So if you have a neighborhood, you're like, hey, this is an area that I'm, trying to potentially, look at to drive. Is it a high investor area? Well, wow, I've got a lot of highlights popping up. This is an area that investors are active, and all of these properties are owned by multiple, or have it owned by somebody who owns multiple properties. So that's actually a really awesome way to find cash buyers as well. Is you can both figure out like, hey, if a bunch of highlights pop up, that's a good area. It's a lot of investor activity. Or B, hey, if I know my area I already want to be in, and I want to sell to somebody, I want to sell to a cash buyer that's active in this area, just put on this highlight, and you've got all these different people that you can already tap into, knowing that they own multiple properties in that area. So that's a really, really big one. I want to mention briefly, we have that list builder tool right here too. It's essentially the highlights that I just showed you, but you can pull the list actually too. So, the highlights button really shows you in real time on the map things that fit your criteria. If you want to pull all that information, pull it into a list, that would be our list builder add-on. So, we've got that for people too. But cool. So that's step one is building this list. Use the highlights to really figure out, hey, where do I go? How do I get out there? Again, all these black dots are properties that when it'll lock on your location, you've got like a little blue dot that'll pop up, right? Just like GPS. And as you drive down Weary Avenue right here, I can look around and I can see, hey, 5206 Weary. I can click on that. I can see more info and figure out, hey, what's the, it's built in 2013. What's the equity? Look at more information there. And if you determine, yeah, hey, that's a good lead, and you see, again, physical distress is the number one thing you want to be looking for. You just hit add lead right there, and you'll see that turns into a blue pin. Those blue pins just mean they're on your list of leads here. So as you drive down the street, you'll see all those black dots. Click on one, add to your list, click on the next one, add a list, make it really, really simple and easy to drive down the street and do that. So, yeah, that's kind of like, first and foremost, step one of this. Hold on a second here. Lost that for you guys. Let me pull this back up. All right. Can you see my screen again there, David?
Yeah, it's just black right now. There we go.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So you can see all these blue pins I've got around here. Those are all different leads that I've added. One other pro tip, you'll see these blue dots pop up too. So let me zoom in a little bit here. These blue dots occasionally, that means that it's a property that's had an MLS status within the last 12 months. So you can look at that to figure out like, hey, yeah, this was transacted literally for sale right now. We can see, hey, this one sold back last March. So it gives you more data to work with to know what the situation is with that property. And especially if you're driving for dollars, you're probably going to want to avoid the ones that have been on the market recently. So all those are kind of pro tips to keep in mind. I would say one really, really powerful way to do this, like in any market, anytime, anywhere, and we're seeing people do this more and more and more, is our virtual driving for dollars option, which is really cool to show off. We have the mobile version of it too, but the desktop version, you just start driving up here. And just like you would in real life, you're going to drive down the street. Oh, here we go. Click on this. And it imports the actual Google Street View right into DealMachine. So you'll be able to essentially click for dollars here anytime, any place. Like we have people, if you want to sit on the couch and watch football and, be looking for deals while you do it, like, hey, more power to you. Like people are clicking on this, going down the street, and you can see as you look at a property, that information pops up right here, showing you just like you would in real life. Hey, what's the information about that property? What's the equity percentage, sale price, date, all of that type of stuff. And you can just hit add lead just like you would, on the mobile app or just like you would in real life, and move on to the next one. So this kind of like clicking for dollars options just been fun, simple. It's great if you're like, if you've got a day job and you don't have time to drive as much, or if it's just really bad weather, or we have people hiring VAs to do this stuff. Like, there's a lot of cool use cases to be able to use kind of this virtual option too. So,
Matt, are you going to get into skip tracing later?
Yep.
Okay.
So absolutely. That really step one is kind of the most in-depth piece, because that building your list is just so important. And it's, being able to go through every single, try to give as many pro tips as I can, really correlates to long-term success a ton. But then, step two will be how to reach out to these people. So, got that going on here. A couple quick last things. You'll see this green line popping up behind you. So that's the route tracking portion of DealMachine. And that's just to save you as much time as possible. So you never have to double back on a route. You can look and see where you've driven, where you've gone. This is what I just did virtually. So when you virtually drive for dollars, it tracks your route too. And you can view all of your routes that you've driven on here. That those lines, they are green for 6 months, they turn yellow at 6 months, and then red at 12 months. So over time, you can visually look at the map and figure out, hey, has it been a while since I've driven there, or where should I drive next, or really make sure you're using your time as efficiently as possible. So
it's really important if you add other. You can add drivers to your account.
Yes.
So if you've got other people out driving for you, you can see where they've driven. You can see how long it's been since you had somebody drive there, and all those things as well. So
exactly. Yep. So that was the last thing I was going to show before going to step two, is you can see all these routes right here. Well, I also have a driver on my account, Elliot, right here. And if I click on him, I can see, and he's actually about an hour south of St. Louis. I can see the routes that he's driven, exactly where he went, what leads he added, and how long it took him. He drove 7 miles for an hour, added 35 leads. So he actually took pictures of each property, which when you take a picture of a property, it tags it right here. And it's a much better way to go in here and kind of go and check and score it and figure out, hey, I can see, this is, the siding's not looking great. It's slightly distressed. It's not like, falling apart or anything, but it'll help me go in here and I can really give feedback, and I can tag that property and say, slightly distressed, peeling paint. And I can really give feedback in here as well to Elliot. So things like that, being able to add drivers to your account and have people be a bird dog for you. I'm happy to do an entire follow-up. That's a deep dive right there of like how to build up a driving team. Happy to do that as a follow-up someday too. But that's one of the best use cases of this, as well as going in here and adding people to your account, so that way they can continue to add leads for you, as a way to keep building that list. So awesome. Before I jump into step two, which again, you've hit on, it's consistent marketing. Is there questions in the chat here? I haven't been monitoring that.
We've got what is virtual driving for dollars, and it's really what he just showed us, doing it online.
Mm-hmm.
It's so if you can't get out, if somebody can't get out and physically, get in the car and drive up and down the street. You can get online and start doing it, right? The DealMachine app integrates with Google Street View. And so you can just click up and down streets and look for distressed properties, and be able to add them to your list just by clicking the button.
Yep, absolutely. And the one pro tip I'll give with that too is you'll see there's at the bottom right corner, it says photo taken May 2022. Always compare that to when it was last sold. So like if you see a photo, which, in most markets, especially the top like 20 to 50 markets, Google's driving those streets constantly. Like you'll see most photos are within 1 or 2 years old. But even if you have, a 3-4 year old photo of a house that's in really bad shape, and then you look and see the sold date is still not as recent as that photo, that's still a really good indicator that, hey, that's still the same owner. It hasn't changed hands yet. It could still be a really high quality lead. So you could see like, hey, this was sold last in 2012, but the photo was taken May 2022. Okay, cool. It's still the same owner. It's probably in still, this relative condition. So wanted to make sure to share that with people too. Awesome. Good questions here.
Hey, Zachary, I'm putting a link to my investor-friendly title company directory in the chat for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you had a directory on that, so that's perfect.
Yep, got it.
Awesome, cool. So step 1 out of 3, knocked it out, made an amazing list of leads. That's first place. You got to start somewhere. That's one of the most important factors in this entire thing, and what's going to indicate your success is getting really, really high quality leads that have a high chance of being motivated. Second step is you got to consistently market to them. And that means not just send one postcard and like David learned, David Lecco, our David learned was, he'd send one postcard and sit back and wait for them to call him back. Like that was not working. You need a lot of leads and you need to consistently market to them. And, just to look at the pure data to show you, hey, what actually, what does the data tell you in terms of how many times you need to market to these people? Well, if you only send one postcard, and even if it's the right person, the right lead, a deal happens 15.59% of the time. If you've only sent one postcard, you're not getting that call back, or you are only 15.59% of the time you're getting that call back. Almost 85% of the time you're missing out on that deal. The other one is if you send 3 postcards. So if you still are somewhat consistently doing this, you're still missing out on over half the deals. So you got to figure out a way to have consistency to just stay top of mind, to stay in front of them. So that way you put yourself in position to be in the right place, right time, the day that they really have that need and really reach out, that you're the one they think of first, because you're the one that's been staying top of mind with them. I'll say like the most common best practice that we see work really extremely well is having a 2-pronged marketing approach. And that means having a little bit of a marketing mix where you're doing short-term marketing is the first prong. And then long-term marketing is the second prong here. And that short-term marketing means something that's one-to-one, something that takes effort to reach out, that, you have to go out there and actually do yourself. And, I would put like calling, I would probably put texting. I know there's a lot of mass texting options out there, but texting, door knocking, sticky notes, things like that take this effort, be a one-to-one outreach, one-to-one, takes that's that short-term marketing. And then combine that with your long-term marketing that you can automate and set it and forget. So that's what we see work extremely well in tandem. To say like, Rebecca, why not send text messages and emails? I would put that under your short-term marketing, doing a creative marketing mix. And especially if you can refer to each other and say, maybe you knocked on the door and put a sticky note on the door saying, hey, I had a question about your property, give me a call. Then you actually called them and said, hey, I don't know if you saw my note, but I left this the other day. Give me a call back. And then you send them a postcard that showed up a week later saying, hey, I don't know if you heard my voicemail, but I was trying to reach you. We had a question about your property. Like referring to each of those things in a chain actually builds familiarity without even talking to that person yet. So
I've also been successful with cold email and having people respond to emails.
Exactly. Email's another one. All of those things, they all up your response rate, increase your chances of being the one that actually gets in contact with that person. So I would say, yes, Rebecca, do a mix of those things. How to do that inside DealMachine. So you're asking about like mail and skip tracing and all that stuff. Again, we were on the map. You're driving for dollars, you're virtual D4D, you're building a great list. Where do those go? It goes to the leads tab right here. And you'll see, here's all the properties we've been compiling. If I do this on my phone, every time I add a lead there, boom, it automatically updates here too. So that'll go back and forth. But you can go in and you hit view lead. And here are those two options. So that creative marketing mix those two, the short-term and long-term marketing together, here are the two options you've gotten right in front of you. So one on the skip trace side, that's the one-off, direct reach out to people where you hit skip trace, pings our database. We've got a 90% contacts return rate. And you'll see, hey, I've got 6 phone numbers to choose from. We give you premium data. So we have a couple different data sources that we work together to be able to show you if it's, connected, disconnected, if it's on the do not call list, if it's online, if it's mobile, is it on the known litigators list? Is it on, what's the caller ID right here? So I can go through right here and I can see, hey, Mark Heeland right here, got mobile number, got a caller ID, matches him, connected, all of that, not on do not call. That's probably the number right there. Give them a call right there. So you can do this right on the spot, one off. You can call, you can text them right there. If they have email addresses, that'll come back for you right there too. So I saw that question about, can you call and text from the app? You just quickly hit copy phone number right there and be able to call them right there. Same thing with email. You can copy that over and send an email. It'll go into your email client right there. But you can do this one off on the go, or you can do it in bulk where you just hit select all on the page or select all of your leads, lead action, skip trace, and all that data will come back for you. So let's see, any other questions here? Let's see, looking good. Good questions. That was the short-term marketing outreach. That's one option. I will mention one really awesome thing that we've got, and we've seen people have more and more success with this lately too, is if you're out driving for dollars and you're comfortable with either door knocking or leaving a sticky note or doing door hangers, those get very, very high response rates compared to a lot of other marketing methods. And plus, since you're driving, like you're already there in person, use that to your advantage. Like other investors that are sitting behind the computer, they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to stand out because they're not there in person, right? And even, I even suggest like, hey, go talk to neighbors, talk to people that are out in the neighborhood, ask them, where's the vacant house that where's the house that you went bought? Where's this? Where's that? And you can really build and get inside info that you wouldn't normally be able to.
Hey Matt, let me dive into the door notes real quick, because this was my forte. I want to say that I was the one that invented this. I don't know if I was or not, but I claim it. Okay. There are two things. People always ask me, well, if the house is vacant, why leave a note on it? And it's because that 9 times out of 10, somebody is watching the house, a neighbor, a relative's driving by, the owner's driving by, somebody's watching that house. So even though the grass isn't cut and there's crap on the front porch or whatever, somebody knows where the owner is and somebody's reporting back to them, right? The neighbor knows where they went. They know the kids of the person that used to live there, whatever. Somebody's watching it. So if you leave a note on the door, they're going to get it. The chances are they're going to get it. The second thing about leaving a note on the property is that there's something psychological about it, okay? Because these people have a vacant house, and chances are, they're getting mail. Hey, do you want to sell your house, or getting postcards or whatever? But if you leave a hand addressed note on the door in an envelope, there's a 100% chance if they get it, they're going to open it. Because just think about yourself. If somebody left a note on your door, that was the hand address, you're going to open it. The curiosity would kill you, right? I get junk mail and it goes right from the mailbox into the trash can. But if I get a handwritten note on my door, I'm going to read it. Now, I know some people, my note always said, hey, I'm an investor and I buy houses, and I noticed, your house was empty, or, do you want to sell it? But some people will just put a note on the door. It says, hey, call me about your neighbor, and put a phone number, right? And then when they call them and say, hey, I got this note about the neighbor, you say, yeah, I was talking to your neighbor a couple streets over, telling them I was looking for vacant houses, and they told me that your house was vacant, right? So you can like lead into why, you said about the neighbor, but you're there. Put a note on the door, put a sticky note on the door, put a letter on the door. It's going to just amplify your success rate, right? You're mailing them, you're calling them, you're emailing them, you're leaving a note on the door, and you're building an awesome list. So leave a note on the door while you're there.
Love it. So one thing to show that off specifically too is I know on our pro level plan, we have a feature that's called Drive This List. And if you have any outside list, any list you've ever pulled, any list that maybe you have a list of leads already, or a spreadsheet or anything like that, you can go in here, you can hit add leads and import that list. And then, let me give an example here. So here's like a list of that, got 7 leads right here. You have this Drive This List feature. And when you click on that, if you have any outside list and you want to go door knock that, you want to go sticky note it, you want to go figure out what is the fastest way possible to go, to go drive that list, this will import GPS into the app and be able to go and say, hey, drive here, 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 and it'll give you the fastest way possible to map out that entire route in front of you and GPS guide you through that. So that's one thing that's been super powerful, awesome for people who are going to take that extra step and, leave notes on the door or door knock or anything like that. So,
in talking about that feature about adding a list, for everybody that stays to the end, I'm going to give you a source for the best motivated seller leads that nobody else has. So
there we go.
Stay tuned.
Boom. Yeah, you give away so many great things, David. Like I know, staying on these, like you loaded up at the end of just free stuff for people, so that's awesome. I will, that's one of the main, one-to-one short-term outreach pieces I want to show off is like the skip tracing for the call, text, email, and then the door knocking. I had a few questions about skip tracing in here. So the way that Gene's set up, you have a subscription, which gives you access to all the technology, and then the marketing costs. So that would be either skip tracing or send postcards. And that's just based on usage. So if you don't skip trace anything, you don't send postcards to anyone, it's totally free. Everyone you send, it depends on the plan level you're on with us. So our skip tracing, it's anywhere from 12 cents to 17 cents, depending upon the plan you're on. Our mailers, it's anywhere from like 54 cents to 64 cents, depending upon what plan you're on as well. So
did you hear that? Eli said you froze. Did you hear that, Eli? On the cost?
Oh, shoot.
You were going for me, so it might have just froze on his computer.
Okay. Yeah. So
he might have froze.
Well, it was, I'm happy to break this down, later as well. Can I show off the specifics? But yeah, I would say 54 cents to 64 cents for a piece of mail, 12 cents to 17 cents for a skip trace is the average cost. So, wanted to go through this. So again,
very on the skip. Yeah, those are Eli. Those are average prices. There's places that you can get skip trace cheaper than that, but it's garbage data, right? As Matt said, when they go in there, they'll tell you, what caller ID is hooked to, what's a cell phone, what's disconnected and all that. So for what they're giving you, it's very good pricing on the postcards and on the skip tracing. So.
Yeah, you can find skip tracing that are, like you said, a couple cents per skip, but you're also, you get what you pay for on the data side, really. And, for us, like pay for multiple data sources to give you that premium data, to give you all those different data sources. So that way we're giving you the best option possible to get in touch with people. So, yeah.
And a lot of those places where you get that skip tracing done, you have to pay for a service, right? Like a monthly subscription or whatever, and then you get the skip tracing. with DealMachine, it's, you can skip one property or you can skip 1,000. It's just whatever you pick. So it's, you can do it one at a time if you want.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So that's the short-term marketing outreach. The long-term piece I want to talk about is the mail and the mail center right here. So
hold on for a second.
Oh,
it's not 45 cents a piece. The skip trace is 12 cents.
Yeah.
Each.
Yep. Here, let me can try to break this down for you. So I can find this for you guys. So basically, it's all dependent on what plan you're with us. And yeah, so if you
that's what you're paying now, 45 cents each. Wow.
Oh, yikes. Well, yeah. So basically, if you're on starter with us, that is 17 cents. It's 34 cents if it's LLCs. So make sure you pay attention to, is this a corporate skip trace or not? Pro would be 14 cents. And then if you're on our teams plan, it is 12 cents. So and then like I said, postcards you've got on here 64, 50, and 4. So hope that helps a little bit there for you. So the postcards, this is the thing that, long-term success of like, how do you stay top of mind? How do you put yourself in position to succeed and really be the one that's getting the call back from them? This automation is absolutely key. And, hitting the start mail button, you can do this as similar to skip tracing. You can do this one-off, or you can do it in bulk by selecting all and hitting start mail. But when you do that, you'll see right away, here's the postcard that's going to them. A couple of pro tips here to avoid things like a tree in the way. When you're driving by that property, if you take a picture of that property, which in the mobile app, it'll prompt you to do that. Like I was showing off what Elliot was doing here in an hour south of St. Louis, taking a picture of that property, that picture will automatically be imported onto that postcard. And that's what's going to be sent to them. And you actually get double the response rate if you do that. So highly, highly recommend taking a picture when you add that lead, if you can manage to do that.
If it's nice enough to hop out of the car, it's fun when you take a picture with you in it and you do a selfie with you standing in front of the house, so they can see you and they can see the house, and that'll bump your response rate up as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they know you were physically there.
They're like, oh man, yeah, that stands out right away. So that's one option I'd say is being able to, or one pro tip would be to add that picture. Secondly, you'll be able to automatically see right here, hey, it's going to send every 21 days and it's going to send 6 times. So it's going to repeat, every 21 days and send then. And what you can go in here and do is adjust that if you like and say, yeah, I want to create a campaign that, sends this template and then this template and then this template and then this one. You can send different sizes. You can send handwritten letters. You can really mix it up in terms of the types of mail you're sending them and how often you're sending it to them. We recommend that the perfect campaign would be every 3 or 4 weeks, and do it 6 to 12 times would be, in terms of optimal for from a budgeting standpoint, what we really recommend. So if you're able to come in and do that and preset that for yourself, you're following what, again, like the Ryan Haywoods of the world, he's done 400 plus deals using this. He uses the templated postcards we have in here, which you get 9 or 10 preset templates already ready to go for you. And, hey, run with that and make it really easy to just set it and forget it from there. So that's the thing that's going to scale. Let me pause this so that way we don't send mail to Mark here. But on the leads tab, you can see all of that. You can manage that. Or if you want to really get into the mail and figure out your budgeting and figure out postcard templates and stuff, this mail tab right here is where you do that. So I've showed off Drive is driving for dollars. Leads is all of this right here. List Builder, like I mentioned, you can pull lists. And then the mail tab right here, if you click into Mail Center, you'll see, hey, here's how many I've sent this month. Here's how many I've scheduled. Here's my estimated spend for the month. Here's, how many I've sent, and is it delivered? Are they in transit? Where's the mail? I'm tracking the mail like this. And then, here's what I've got scheduled going out. as well as if I jump into the postcards tab right here, that's where you can really go in and adjust and say, yeah, I want to, switch up the size of postcard. I want to do handwritten point letter right here, where they're going to be more expensive, but they have a multiple time response rate. Like David said, if you have a handwritten letter, especially if you leave it on the door or something, like, you're going to get a much, much higher response rate, and you can come in here and customize the text and what it says, and really kind of, mess with the design there if you'd like. So, we can make that all customizable for people and all presets.
With the custom postcards, you can go in here and create, because somebody asked about, finding cash buyers. You can go in here and create one for cash buyers.
Yep.
And send it to properties, like Matt said, that, people that own multiple properties, or
Yep.
corporations that own multiple properties, and send it to them and say, hey, are you looking for more properties? Right. And just
Yep.
use a generic picture of a vacant house, and just say, are you looking for more properties that look like this? Call me and let's get you on my buyers list.
Love that. There you go. Good good pro tip. I would say in general, I mean, the big thing is the consistency, like, in the fact that you can automate this and just hit set it and forget it, and you're putting yourself statistically in a good place to get that callback. But in the end, like, if you can do that marketing mix of going in here and use the skip traces and use the mail and do those two things together, like that's the winning formula there. So awesome. Any other questions before I show the next step here? Doesn't look like it. Cool.
Yeah,
so third step here in the playbook, before we kind of get to that's the special giveaway for you guys and offer and everything, is closing the deal. And a couple things I want to really lay out, a couple things that we see in common that really helps you get to that point to be able to close that deal and really take action and lead with action. First and foremost is the limiting belief of being afraid to say I don't know. That's what David on our end, that's what he was trying to overcome, is he felt like he had to know everything before he got out there and got into these conversations and started talking to sellers. I wanted to give you permission to be able to know, like, you can say, hey, I don't know, maybe my partner does, let me go check with them, and really come back and fall back on this on-demand knowledge you have on things like this, on calls, and somebody else, if you're working together with every other person, or if you have a mentor, like, that's what those groups are for, that's what those people are for, that's what these calls are for, is to be able to then fall back and continue to learn and continue to lead with action and put yourselves in situations where you can learn. Making a confident offer and following up. Now, you can use technology to really, really help you with that, especially a newbie. So showing this inside a DealMachine. Let me kick back over to this. First and foremost, your lead management, like just staying organized and building a relationship, building rapport with people. Having a CRM like this is going to really, really help you in that, where we don't necessarily really call ourselves a CRM, but people will use this lead flow as a way to come in, view the lead, and then say, hey, yeah, I looked at the info, this activity tab right here. When you click that, you have an opportunity to be able to add notes and add tasks and come in here and, say you talk to them and said, yeah, it's an they told me it was an inherited property. It's urgent. They want to, they're looking to get rid of it for XYZ reason. You can even put, they've got 2 kids, some personal info in there. They said they want me to come on an appointment tomorrow, so I can, take that note and then post that note in here. And just being able to have that alone, where you're staying organized, you're building a real relationship with them, you're able to refer to that, back to those notes in future conversations. You're able to follow up on what you say you're going to do. Like if you know that you have an appointment tomorrow, you can add a task to say, yeah, appointment at 2 p.m. I can type, and then assign that to myself tomorrow and create that task for myself. And then, whenever I wake up in the morning, check my tasks and say, yeah, I need to go on this appointment today, and check that off when I've done it. Like, just doing that over and over again is going to really put you ahead of 80-90% of people. Because even if you're in a sales job all day, that's where salespeople fall through, is they don't follow up properly. They don't have that next step. They don't stay organized like this. So having this all at your fingertips to be able to figure out How do I stay organized? How do I continue to move all these leads forward? A couple other quick little pro tips here. This filters button, this is something that's super powerful, where if you want to go in and, as you add leads, you can add tags to them as well. And like I showed you earlier with Elliot, he added a lead and he marked it as, some or slightly distressed. You can come here and tag properties and create your own tags and say, yeah, show me all of the properties that I tagged as high priority when I added them while driving for dollars. When I apply that, I'll see I've got 48 leads. Let's start there. Let's, when I figure out who I want to call first today, start on the high priority leads and start working down that list. So, there's so many different ways that you can kind of filter. You can add leads. I know I see that in the chat here, Jennifer. You can click add leads and import a list and import a spreadsheet, and then it comes right into here to be able to manage your leads that way. You can export them as well, so you can click on all the leads, click lead action, and go down here export leads. So people use us in tandem with other things too, but that's the goal, is to stay active, stay organized, stay really focused, and make sure that you always add tasks, so that way no lead falls through the cracks. So awesome. With that, we talked about making confident offers. So the main tool we have on here to really help you do that is our comps tool. And our comps, this comes with every single level of DealMachine. So if you click on a lead and you say, yeah, you've gotten into a conversation with them and they say, hey, what's the price, name your price, what's, you make an offer. Coming in here, when you click on comps, let me expand this so it's easier to see. This comps tool can be done anywhere. We've got the mobile app, looks just like this too, but the whole goal of this is to make it so that way, as a newbie, you're extremely confident in your numbers. You know exactly what that property is actually worth. You have accurate data to pull from, and you're able to not overpay. You're able to really negotiate on the spot. So with this comps tool, you can jump in. You can see we've got the filter button right here. If you click filter, you can choose MLS or county records. I always default MLS. That's going to be the most up-to-date info. You can select the date of sale. So you can go in here and say, yeah, the market's really been changing lately, so let me select a more recent month. So that way it's, the last couple of months. Square footage, I recommend about 15% either way, up or down, that kind of range. So here's the property you're looking at, go 15% higher or lower than that. Year built, I go 15 years above and below that, so that way you have somewhat similar architecture to be able to comp this to. Bed, bath, range, you can adjust all of that. And then once you've done that, you can zoom in here and you can use our draw tool. So click start drawing, and you can actually draw and try not to cross as many major streets as you can. Like, try to keep it all within the same neighborhood if possible. And as you do that, in real time, it'll come up here and it'll show you, hey, here's my 5 comps that if I deselect the outliers here, it'll in real time, as I select and deselect them. Here, let me do there. As I select and deselect them, it'll calculate that estimated value on the spot. And I can say, hey, here are the 3 comps closest to this property that fit all my filters, average dollar per square foot on those, and prices right here. So that projects our estimated value to 302. And I can look into each individual property and say, hey, let me view this and see if there's any MLS photos. Not on that one. Let's see here. It depends on the property. Not on that one. Let's give this one more shot here. Photos. Not on these right here. So if you do have a property, here's some. So if you click on a property that has MLS photos on there, you can use that data point too to say, hey, yeah, this property right here is in really good condition and it's 341. Well, your property would take 50K, 60K, 100K to get to that level. And you can use that as another data point to really negotiate and show them, hey, here's what a comparable truly is based on the condition of the property too. So yeah, I'd say, going into this again, let me go back right here. Again, you want to make, I want to give you permission to be able to take action first, put yourself in situations where it's okay to say, I don't know, that you're ready to make a really, really confident offer using data, that you continuously follow up, that you use tasks, you use notes to do that. You really build a relationship with the seller while you're doing that. And closing the deal. It's about building trust, building that relationship, and following through with what you say you're going to do. So, that's the playbook. Those are the 3 plays. The thing that brings it all together, like we've been talking about, it's action first with this on-demand knowledge. And we talked about goal setting at the beginning here of going how many leads you should try to get build a list of, the actions you need to take to get in touch with those leads. The results come from that, and you can maximize those results through that on-demand knowledge. But action comes first. Action comes where we see it in terms of what is the factor that adds up to everyone, or that everyone has in common, that makes this happen and lands deals. It's they're leading with action. So here's another example of people who've led with action using DealMachine, like the Polites over here. They drive for dollars. They use postcards. They fully committed, went all in for 6 months. They did $500K in assignment fees doing this. They built up a huge portfolio based on those assignment fees. They built up a fix and flip business, and they had even gotten on a show, an A&E show, 50/50 Flip here, because they have built out this business together as a couple, and learned so much along the way. Started in 2008, the last 5 years building this real estate business. And then we have people like this, like Patrick, who he was literally sleeping in his truck. Read this. I was sleeping in my truck trying to figure out how to change my situation. A YouTube video from a friend told me about REI and DealMachine. In my first 10 months, I went from that truck to doing 14 deals and over 150K in wholesale fees. And this is exactly what he did. He took this playbook. He went out there, took action, and started changing his life through this too. So before I jump into this, David, are there any other questions that you see? I'm happy to take a little bit of Q&A, but want to be able to share this, to this
no, I think
special offer we have everybody.
Hitting them pretty good here. I think we're in good shape. I'm going to talk about a couple of things at the end, but we're good on questions.
Awesome. Perfect. So just for everybody in this training specifically, DealMachine.com/toolbox been sharing, hey, that's where you can start a free 7-day trial. You get 30 free dollars in marketing credits from this. So just versus going through our website. So going through that link, you're going to be able to go and actually be paid for hundreds of skip traces for free, 50 free mailers essentially. So 7-day free trial to go drive for dollars, a ton of free marketing to be able to start reaching out to these people, start to have conversations, start to build momentum, hopefully do your first deal as soon as possible. And, if you actually start that free trial and you email me and say, hey, I'm trying this out, I'm doing this free trial, email me direct. It's just Matt@DealMachine, MA@DealMachine.com, which I'll in the chat here too. Email me direct. Tell me, hey, I was on with David Frizzell here. I was, just say toolbox. If you say toolbox anywhere, I'll know, and we can give you another $10. So I'll work on that. I'll treat you guys, I want to hook you guys up as much as possible. So email me direct. If you start a free trial, that'll help you out there. I know, David, can you talk about the stuff you're going to throw into to help people out?
Yeah, I'm going to steal the screen back from you for a second here. Okay.
Yeah, go for it. If I can
reclaim my spot as host.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to share my screen for a second. I find the right screen. Yeah, I got to find it. Give me a second, guys. How to pull up the.
Remember, we'll do the giveaway after this too. So.
Yeah. All right. All right. You see my screen? The blue. Does it see DealMachine bonus offer?
There we go. Bonus offer. Yep.
All right. All right. So everybody that signs up for DealMachine for the trial, right, using the code Toolbox, I'm going to give this bonus offer. Okay. I wrote a driving for dollars guide. It's really a wholesaling guide, but it's just centered around driving for dollars. But it takes you from beginning to end, like how to wholesale a deal with inspecting the property, with finding the lead, with talking to the buyers, talking to sellers, title company, all of it. Takes you through the whole thing. So you get the guide, all the contracts you would ever need, the purchase agreement, assignment agreement, the option agreement, a JV agreement, if you need to cancel a deal, I've got the form in there to cancel a deal, whatever you need a form. In addition to all those forms, I have videos to go along with each one to show you how to fill them out, fill out the contracts, fill out the forms, the agreements and everything. Same with the scripts for the cash buyer and motivated seller. I have scripts in there you can download. I have videos walking you through best practices when trying to find sellers and buyers and all that stuff. So everything, videos on everything. I talked about uploading a list to DealMachine. In here, I have the way to go to all the cities, all the municipalities, and get a low water usage list using a Freedom of Information Act. So I go after low water usage versus the water shutoffs, because water shutoffs, people don't pay their bill or whatever. But a lot of people will leave the water on in a vacant house, but they just won't be using any. So it's better to go for a low water usage, because somebody might have been in a vacant property and flushed the toilet or turned on a sink or something. But I'll give you the directions to go and get that list from all the cities. Most of them will email it to you in an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can just load it up to DealMachine, route it, and start driving it. So nobody else does that, or very few people do it. So it'll be a list nobody else has. Okay. And then I also give you a checklist for like a real quick checklist that lets you rehab or calculate a rehab really quick, right? So you can take the property with you and just, real fast. Now it's not going to be exact, but it will give you a good ballpark on what a rehab's going to cost. So I'm going to give everybody this bonus offer that signs up for this deal. In addition to this, and Matt, you can vouch for me on this. I don't train, yeah. I don't coach. It's not my thing, right? On the Wholesalers Toolbox, I have a free course people can take, but coaching isn't my gig. But for everybody that signs up for a subscription to DealMachine, I will get on a call with you next week and let you ask me anything you want to ask me about the wholesaling business. I'll give you the best information I can give you. I'll tell it to you straight, right? But anybody signs up serious about doing this, I will get on a call with all of you, and you can ask me whatever you want.
Amazing. Yeah, that
and,
one's
and Matt won't be here, so we can talk bad about Matt. But anybody that signs up, I will do another Zoom call next Thursday. And I will get on and we'll spend an hour or two, however long you guys want, and we'll talk anything you want to talk about with wholesaling.
Love it. That truly is. I mean, you've not offered that.
I've never done it. Never done it.
That's gonna be great.
So.
No. All right. Love it. Awesome. Well, I can finish up if you give me a screen share again, I can finish up giving all the rest of the special offers and the giveaway and everything for people too. So all right, let's see here.
Give me 1 second, because I don't know how to use Zoom. I'm always a participant, never the host.
Never the host here.
All right, here we go. You are in
appreciate
charge.
Appreciate all the
everybody. I'm going to drop the link to my link to DealMachine again in the chat. Perfect. We got a question on the major differences between PropStream and DealMachine. DealMachine started as a driving for dollars app and didn't have this other stuff. And so really, if you were, it was perfect for driving for dollars. If you were doing anything else, it wasn't great. But they've done a great job at adding all these things. So like Matt was going through, like the list builder. If you just want to go in now and not drive for dollars and go in to DealMachine, you can create a list, right? And it's a smart list, right? So once you buy it, say I buy, a list of 3 zip codes. Then every time data changes, like a vacant property changes to an owner occupied or whatever, that list will update itself. So you don't have to buy another list. It's a smart list, right? So they've done that. It's a great feature. They've added in the skip tracing. They've got the postcards. They've got the good data on the skip tracing. So it used to be where, you would have PropStream for one, DealMachine for the other. Now you can really utilize DealMachine for everything, right? If it not taking anything away from PropStream, because there's certainly also another leader in the industry as far as comes to data. But if you're driving for dollars, DealMachine is the app to have if you're driving for dollars. Eli missed the part about buying lists. We didn't really get into smart list, Eli, but when you buy a list, you've got the list builder. So if you don't want to go out and drive for dollars, you can go in here and create a list and buy leads in DealMachine. And when you do that, it's called a smart list, and it will update. So like with if you go to a list source or someplace and buy a list, well, after a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months, that data gets old. But with DealMachine, the list updates itself. Right. So, you can buy a list this month in one city and the next month in another city. And those lists will constantly update once you buy them.
Yeah, we actually
Matt's showing you right here.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. So this is like the list builder tool within DealMachine. So like we mentioned, this is the driving for dollars stuff. We show it off. Here's where all your leads go. You can, send mail and skip trace and all that. Your mail center to manage your mail. And then list builder is an add-on. It's an upgrade within DealMachine. And if you jump on a list builder, you can, very similar to the highlights, you can choose each individual filter, either a quick list or create your own, and then say, yeah, show me all the absentees in this area. Let me start drawing and get really specific around an area. Cool. You can see in real time, I've got 230 leads that fit in that drawn list, and then hit build list. And that's just going to import that right into a list for you. So that's our most powerful add-on. It's something that people use, especially in tandem with driving for dollars. But yeah, like you said, David, I mean, I think we really, there's a ton of different features we can point to and a lot of things that talk about how we're different. But I do think in the end, like, it comes down to the we really hang our hat on being the most rated or highest rated and most reviewed app out there for investors to find off market deals. So yeah,
by far.
Yeah, that's for sure what we point to as an objective thing to point to.
Matt, go over the upcharge for the list builder for Eli.
Yes, so list builder, that would be, let me find the pricing. So if you look at DealMachine, typically it's $59 a month for starter, $99 a month for pro, $299 for teams, and then the one add-on is list builder. That's a $49 a month edition. So right. I'd say think about it in that way, but
right. So then you get 10,000 leads a month.
Awesome. Cool. Let's see, this app's probably not the best for virtual wholesalers. So virtual would be either, I mean, you could do list builder.
Are you talking about virtual Eli or you're talking about making phone calls, right? You're talking about hopping on the phone and just dialing for dollars is what you're talking about.
Virtual wholesaling. Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah. So I think virtual wholesaling. Mm-hmm. So I would say either the virtual driving for dollars option. So here's a couple examples. It depends how you define virtual. If you're saying, hey, me not physically being in the market, the most effective ways we've seen is, one, you can do list builder. Two would be if you want to do virtual driving for dollars, like clicking for dollars. I was showing that off a little bit earlier. That would be a way to physically drive without actually being there, in that way. Out of state, this would be a way to do that. Or if you add a driver to your account and someone in that state, then say, hey, they can drive for you. You add a driver to your account and they can add, you can drive around and add leads that way. So, cool. Awesome.
Eli, right. I'm just curious, how many deals have you done virtually? And are you why are you doing virtually? Are you in a market that doesn't have a good investor? You're not in an area that's got a good investor market, or why are you virtually? That's a big thing. I did virtual, I've done virtual, not you're newbie here in California. Okay, he doesn't think it's a good market. So, you can mail out a DealMachine. You can certainly pick an area and mail out a DealMachine. You can call out a DealMachine, right? It's, you can skip trace and you can call out of there and all that stuff. I still, like I said, I'm a big advocate of driving for dollars. So, if and I've done this, because I was in Michigan and I was marketing here in the Tampa Bay area before I moved down here, and I had somebody driving for me down here, right? I would just pay them to go put notes on doors and drive for me. So, depending on what your budget is, right? You can either, get on DealMachine, pull lists and do everything just like you're doing on any other app and call them and skip trace them and all that stuff. If you've got the budget, I highly recommend just hiring a driver. You can have somebody put notes on doors for about the same cost as you can to mail, right? So I think, doing that's effective. They're going out to the property, they're putting a note on the door, they're taking a picture so they've been there. And then you can buy those pictures, you can identify what is a good property to go ahead and start doing some, postcard marketing to. So, I still like DealMachine for virtual, but it just depends on, on your technique. I know a lot of people, will get like a dialer system. So if you're working on dialer system, you might want to go another route on it, but it's, DealMachine is still good for virtuals.
Good questions though.
Yes, if you don't have the budget, listen, I've done analysis. I actually have a video on it on YouTube that breaks down the different strategies for mailing, the cost of that, for dialing and getting a dialer, and how many hours it takes and how many calls you have to do to connect with somebody with and without a dialer. Putting out bandit signs, how many bandit signs you have to put out to get calls and all that, and then driving for dollars. And driving for dollars is by far the most affordable to do, and it's the most effective to do over any of them. Now, some people's circumstances are different. They can't drive for dollars, right? So they have to mail, or they have to, get on the phone and make calls. But if you have the ability to drive for dollars, it's going to be the most cost effective, and it's going to be the most effective way to find deals by far. But I mean, it's not even close. So, and the reason I did driving for dollars, the other reason was, I worked a lot of years in like the mortgage business and, in 9-to-5 stuff and sales, business. And I didn't want to be stuck to a desk anymore, right? So, I didn't want to get a headset and start making phone calls and all that. I wanted to get out, get in the car, drive around, look at the market, look at the houses, talk to people, and do deals. So that's why I levitated towards driving for dollars. And but you've got to make that decision for yourself. And if you get DealMachine, or you want to get on the call. You want to get on a call next week, I will do that with you and we can go more in depth on it.
Perfect. Fantastic. Awesome. So I want to make sure to really, really good questions. I want to make sure to be able to give you guys, the giveaway option too. So we had, DealMachine.com/toolbox is one option, 7-day free trial, again, $30 in free marketing credits, get another bonus, $10 if you email me tonight and say, hey, yeah, I started my free trial, and I can make sure you guys are hooked up with that bonus too. In addition to all of the free stuff that David just went through, he's giving you guys too, the call, the materials, all of that. Outside of that, I wanted to say, hey, if you are saying, yeah, I'm ready to do this for more than a couple months, I'm looking at this for the full year, I'm ready to really commit to this strategy and say, yeah, this is something that I am going to do my next deal with this, and I'm going to go drive for dollars. I'm going to go make this happen. Instead of just going through our website, I wanted to make sure you guys had an awesome deal to go through here. if you did www.dealmachine.com/nobs, going through that link, you'll get it's Deal Machine Pro. So that's driving for dollars, virtual D for D, up to 50K leads, all of the map features we showed off tonight, all of the mail center features, all of the CRM features, the MLS comps, the data on the map, all that stuff, the free marketing credits like this, and then list builder. So we were talking about list builder here. If you want list builder for free, thrown in here for an entire year, which gets you 10,000 leads, smart lists like David talked about, and unlimited lists, like you could build as many different types of lists as you possibly want. All that's included there. Typically, they'd be over $1,800 if you're going to do that for an entire year at that level. Just going through our website, going through this link, you'll get it for $990, and it would be 45% off for that year. So, wanted to give you that option too, of saying, hey, yeah, if you're going to fully commit and you don't want to just do this for a couple months, but you're like, yeah, I'm going to do a deal, instead of going through our site, normally go through that special promo, and you'll get a huge discount on that. So, that's another option for you. The one giveaway I want to say is, hey, if you do purchase the annual deal, if you commit to that mentally, you're already like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and you actually go all in on that. One person that does that, tomorrow night, I'm going to do a drawing, and we're going to give away one free account to someone who does that. So if you purchase it, you might get a refund anyway. You might take that great action. You might get it for a full year. That's awesome. You've already committed and you're ready to do that. But hey, one of you, I'm going to do a free drawing, and you'll get a giveaway, or you'll get that entire thing for free. So wanted to give you guys that as well. I'll leave this up as we continue to take questions, but these QR codes should work, where the left side is going to get you the 7-day free trial and $30 free, which is dealmachine.com/toolbox. The right side is the full 45% off for a year, and enter for the giveaway, dealmachine.com/nobs. So and again, you get David's promos, or the freebies as well, the free call, and then all the contracts and everything that he offered there too. So happy deal finding, really excited to hear from you guys, but I will keep this up and I can take some questions if there are more.
I appreciate this, everybody. And if again, if you guys know me and you've been to my website, whatever, that my goal with all of this is for you guys to succeed. Again, I don't do a course. I don't sell a personal product. I'm an affiliate for DealMachine and for PropStream and for some other companies and stuff. But my driving force behind this is to, get people to where they want to go, success wise. And provide the tools and the information and all that. So that's why I do this. That's why I'm making the offer to get onto a call with everybody next week. If you get the trial of DealMachine, and just let you ask the questions that you have about the business, because I know that the majority of you are new in this. So
love it. Yeah,
Zachary, you are welcome. We appreciate doing this.
Absolutely.
Jennifer, you're welcome.
Feel free to use my email as a resource. Feel free to reach out anytime to be able to. I want to help you on my end as well. Especially when you land that first deal, to reach out to me. And if you're up for being on our YouTube channel, like I said, we've had over 150 interviews like that. It's great local credibility for you. So always happy to feature you then too. So please feel free to follow up and reach out.
I'm going to put my email in there, but I know you guys all have my email because I sent about 20 in the last 3 days. But I have to do that because a lot of people don't open emails. So, it's I have to do it repeatedly like that too, so you're trying to get a good open rate and get everybody to see, to get the message. So I'm excited though. Honestly, like I said, a lot of people don't, I don't do coaching and I don't mentor and all that stuff. But but I like talking to people just getting into the business. And really, if you guys sign up and do this, I'm really excited about doing another Zoom call next week. I won't lie. I would like to get on with you. Next week we'll get on there so everybody, we'll have everybody's picture up or video up so we can all, see each other, and let's just talk about it and get everybody going. So that's
Wow.
it. Any more questions? If not, we'll get it wrapped up soon here, I guess.
Sounds great.
Roz, you're very welcome. Eli, good. I'm glad. Sign up and we'll all talk next week. I'm going out of town this tomorrow, and I will be back Tuesday next week. And when I get back, everybody that signed up, I will get an email out and send you a Zoom link and get everybody registered to hop on next week if 8 o'clock next Thursday night works for everybody. So.
Perfect.
All right, Matt. Dropping off. Good luck. Thanks, Jennifer. All right, everybody. If you grab the email Matt if you have any questions. Thanks for everybody for being here. This was awesome. And I will look forward to meeting with some of you and hopefully all of you next Thursday.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night.
All right. See you, Matt.
Thanks, David.
Bye.